Here we are in part 3 of the Vintage Kenner Star Wars figure restoration series. In part 1, we did Lando, the Gamorrean Guard, and Weequay. In part 2, we did 3 Ewoks, Teebo, Chief Chirpa, and Logray. And today, we're gonna go back into the case and dig out 3 more. Plus, I've got 1 extra figure that I bought recently at a little convention locally for $3, and I thought we'd turn that one into a custom. So today, let's dig back into the case, this beautiful case, and we're gonna pick out Stormtrooper, Snowtrooper, I'm really looking forward to that one, and another one I'm really looking forward to, the AT-AT driver. So we're gonna move this case, and we're gonna just quickly take a look and see what we got here. So, there's that one, 2, 3. So let's just move this down a little bit, and we're gonna come in a little bit closer. Okay, so these figures here are a little bit worse for wear. Now, you can tell, like on this one here, this Stormtrooper, there's all kinds of grime. He's very sticky, and again, these figures have been sitting in that case for decades, probably in someone's attic or basement, and they're very musty. They smell like mold and mildew, and they have a tackiness to them. And you can see there's all kinds of grime in all the in the sculpting. There's that one, and then the same thing here. The Snowtrooper is just, there's a tackiness to it. And he's definitely got a lot of grime in his backpack. And then this one here, the AT-AT driver, this one here suffers from a lot of paint wear, especially on his butt. This is something you see with all the AT-AT drivers. There's always this paint rub. So we're gonna get the old airbrush out this time. We're gonna airbrush, get the paint back on real nice, touch up his gloves. He's got those old gloves. And again, he's just got grime and tackiness. So we're gonna get them all cleaned up, restored, and underway, just like we do with the other ones, the first couple of videos. We're gonna stick them in the power wash. We're gonna deodorize them in some isopropyl alcohol and water for a little while, clean them up. But here's the one that's really exciting. So I recently went to a convention not far from my house, and like a little trade show type of thing, and they had this Snowtrooper. Some kid clearly had a blast painting this guy blue back in the day. Look at him, he's just covered in blue. So what I thought we would do is I thought maybe this would be a good opportunity to clean this guy up, and instead of restore him, we're gonna restore this one, but we're gonna customize this one. And back in the day, there was a bootleg figure, and that's what reminded me of this. This bootleg figure was blue. He was called Uze, one of the Uze Blue Stars, and he was like a Polish custom. And you can look for him online, and they're pretty expensive bootleg figures, but he was blue. And it looks like somebody maybe tried to do that with this one. There's a yellow visor. So we're gonna synthetic Rit dye this guy blue. We're gonna take off all the blue paint on him. We're gonna synthetic Rit dye him blue and see what happens. See if we can make a cool Uze Blue Stars custom Snowtrooper out of this. Now, the best method that I like is to remove all this excess paint, is to stick them in some Simple Green. And right here, I've just got a big old bottle of Simple Green. That's the stuff that I like to use, and it's the concentrated. So we're gonna put them in a little vat of Simple Green. We're gonna microwave the Simple Green for about 1 minute. And then we're going to stick them in there and see if we can get the rest of the paint off. So stay tuned. Let's get cracking on another set of restorations and customs. Okay, it's once again that time. You know what we're gonna do. There's my freshly hot boiled water, or nearly boiled water. And we're gonna hit a little bit of isopropyl alcohol in there, just a splash. And again, these figures have been sitting for decades in the case, in most likely an attic or a basement somewhere. And so they have a real musty, earthy, kind of gross smell, and they're very sticky with grime. And you can see here, on this figure, there's so much grime in there. And he's just a good example of why we deodorize. So I can smell it from here. My nose is about 16, 17 inches away from this, and you can smell it coming off the figures. So we're just gonna let them go right in there. All right, we're gonna give them a minute. And again, so that is the hot water and the isopropyl alcohol. And then I'm gonna use the old standby, the Dawn Power Wash. Stuff is great. So we're just gonna take them out, let them sit in there for a minute, and begin. And then we got our soft bristle brush. All right, so let's start with I think we're gonna go with the AT-AT driver. So we're gonna give them a little squirt of the power wash. And power wash and go. Again, there's his butt. The AT-AT drivers always have the paint missing on their butt, and we're going to take care of that. We're going to use get the old airbrush out. Put a super light coat of this light gray paint, and also touch up his white gloves. And the nice thing about the Kenner, the vintage Kenner Star Wars figures, is that basically all of the paint they just pulled it right off the shelf. So Tamiya and, Apple Barrel, you name it, any craft paint, any hobby paint, Citadel, they all have exactly these colors. You barely have to mix any. We had, when we did the Lando skiff guard restoration, the paint right out of the tube was almost identical. We had to hit it with a little bit of light brown, just a very little touch of it, and that was super easy. But I mean, you could have used it right out of the old, what did we use? A Citadel paint or something like that, Tamiya paint. But I was just kind of freakish about it. I wanted to see if I could match it better. Probably couldn't tell the difference. You could totally have used it right out. You gotta make sure you get into those leg joints, these 5 points of articulation figures. There's not very much that moves on them, but the grime and grease always gets in there and stays in there. Alright, let's see how old AT-AT driver's looking. Give him a little dunk. Ooh, look at that. Even just degreasing and degriming him looks awesome. All right, we're gonna let him dry over there. I'm gonna put him right over there. All right, let's do the old snow trooper next. Now, the other snow trooper that I featured with all that blue paint on him, he's outside in the deck right now in some hydrogen peroxide. I got all the blue paint off of him. And before we RIT dye him with the synthetic blue RIT dye, I thought it might be worth seeing if we can get some of that yellowing out of him to make sure that the blue dye just covers uniformly. This snow trooper, we're just gonna restore back to the factory colors. And you can see that there's a little bit of discoloration between the body and the arms and legs. And we're gonna whiten these as well in the hydrogen peroxide on the deck. All these Imperial white uniform troopers are gonna get that treatment. All right, let's see if the grime and the grease is off of this guy sufficiently. If not, we'll throw him back in the water for a bit. Actually, you know what? We're gonna put that driver in there, let him deodorize a little bit. I'm telling you, it's really striking how musty these figures smell. It's kind of like when you walk into someone's house and they've been a smoker all their life. You know, you just can't get that smoke smell out of the house. It's like this. These figures have that sort of deeply ingrained musty smell. All right, let's give him a dunkaroo. See what we got. Oh yeah, I mean, he already looks so much better, but we can make him better looking. All right, nice job. Yeah, that smell is definitely fading. And here's the worst one. So this one here, he's really bad, the stormtrooper. So we're gonna just give him a squirt of that. All right, let's see. His chest plate had some deep grime in it. And his helmet was looking pretty gnarly. Let's see what he looks like. I mean, look at the foam is pretty brown. So it's definitely doing something. I use the power wash on my cars, and man, stuff is powerful. And the feedback on Instagram and some of the comments, something kind of funny about it is it seems like everybody's favorite part of these restoration videos is just the cleaning of them. I get it. I totally get it. It's nice to see them come back from the dead, even just with a degriming, you know. Especially when they're really bad. That's even more fun. Let's see, we're gonna give him another minute or so here. Let's just keep going for a minute. I think this is gonna look awesome when we give him the dunk. This guy, I can tell already he's not gonna look perfect yet, but man, what a difference. This one was gross. Sticky too, like your finger, there's a tack to it. Like pine sap almost. And the other thing too is when we run out of figures to restore and customize from that box, we're gonna restore the box. So that's gonna be cool too. So it's like a whole thing. I think probably the box is gonna be my favorite part actually. I've never restored one before, so. All right, let's give him a dunkaroo and see what we got. Oh yeah, wow. Look at the difference there. Look how good he looks. Oh yeah, that's like 100%. You could almost leave him like that just as it is. I'm gonna give him another little scrub here, right along there, you know, and see if we can get it off a little bit more. One more little power wash. But I'll do that off camera. Just know I'm gonna continue working on these guys, deodorize them, and I will catch you in a little bit. Okay, here they are. It's a beautiful, hot, sunny day, and we got the stormtroopers. Both the Hoth stormtrooper and the regular stormtrooper are in the hydrogen peroxide. They've been out for about 24 hours. We're gonna give it another 24 hours of really good hot UV sun. So let's see where we're at in another 24 hours. Okay, it has been 5 days. 5 days in the blazing sun. And we didn't even buy the special stuff. We bought the over-the-counter Stop and Shop grocery store version. This is just the regular old hydrogen peroxide, 3%. We didn't even buy the higher concentration. So let's see where we're at. after 5 days of these figures out in the sun. We'll see what we got. Okay, so here we are in my kitchen, and here's the figures in the hydrogen peroxide. I got a white bowl that we're gonna wash them off in. So I wanna see, let's compare how white these are to this pure white bowl. See how far we've come. Wow, I tell you what, they look really, really good already. Like, holy smokes, does that look white? So we're gonna put that in there. Look at the snow trooper. The snow trooper looks absolutely mint all the way around. Here, we're gonna do that. Just hit them with a little power wash. That just stops the hydrogen peroxide, neutralizes it, kind of stops it for a second. Now the great thing about it is here, we're gonna do that. We're gonna save that hydrogen peroxide. We can do several more figures with that. So that's good. Now, let's do this. Just a little spin. And I'll tell you what, I mean, this is natural light. There's no lighting or effect going on here. This is beautiful. Look at the difference. Wow. I mean, that's brand new factory white on the snow trooper. And then look at this stormtrooper. I mean, that stormtrooper is brand new. If you saw that, you would say this is like a C9 condition. Really, truly. Like, look, even in the groove where that grime collected in there, there's nothing in there. It just does a beautiful job. So 5 days, intense sunlight, just leave it out there, wash it down with a little power wash. So here, let's do this. Ready? We're gonna empty this bowl out. Now this is a pure white bowl. This is stormtrooper white essentially, and I mean, there is no yellowing whatsoever when you compare it to the bowl. I mean, really not. So that's a great technique to get your stormtroopers getting all done. Now, stay tuned for the AT-AT driver. We're gonna airbrush those gray spots that rubbed off. And then we're gonna touch up some of these figures here. Like you can see here on the hands, there's a little bit of touch up, not much, but like right there, you might be able to tell. A little bit there. Snow Trooper looks perfect, but we're also gonna customize that other one. We're gonna customize that one. And so really, really, really nice. So stay tuned for the next part where we start painting, accessorizing, airbrushing, and we'll get these figures done. Okay, we've come to the touch-up. What I'm gonna do is I've decided I'm gonna take the AT-AT driver, this AT-AT driver, who we're working on as well with the white cheeks there, and with the touch-up paint. We're gonna split this into its own separate video because it's gonna require a little bit more, and I'm also gonna put the custom snow trooper that we're doing in that separate video. So stay tuned for that. So we're gonna revisit this figure and we're gonna focus on these because this video is getting pretty long already. So anyways, here we are. Now, where we left off, these figures have been treated in the 3% hydrogen peroxide solution and they look absolutely fantastic. We've come a long way. This is after a week out in the warm sun, nice summer sun, 3%, and it has completely de-yellowed these figures. Now, the Hoth Stormtrooper, Snow Trooper, this requires virtually no touch-up. There's really nothing that needs to be done for this figure. So we're gonna put that aside, and that's gonna be just all we need to do is accessorize that one. But this Stormtrooper, other than being absolutely pristine white now, does require a little bit of touch-up on the hands. As you can see there, you might see there's some touch-up that is required on both of those hands. So we've done this a number of times before by now, but here's a small little cup. I've got my favorite angled brush, and I've got a number of, I got some cheap craft paint, black, just acrylic paint. It doesn't matter really which one. So let's just choose this one. We're gonna choose this one. All it's gonna require is a very small dollop of paint. There it is. That's about all you need right there. Just this, a little bit. And then we're gonna take some satin varnish. And that's gonna do a nice job helping seal and give the appropriate shine to the black paint. So we're gonna take one of these and just do a little squirt just like that. Oh, well, there's a little more than we wanted. That happens sometimes, but that's okay. It's all right, we'll mix it. So all you gotta do is mix it up a little bit. Just want a nice, maybe 50-50 mix. So we're not even touching half that stuff. We're just taking the little bit that came out there. And pretty much, I think one loaded paintbrush is probably gonna be all that's needed for this figure. So here we go. We're gonna get up to it right there and just touch. And we're just gonna get the, hopefully you can see that. I'm just touching it up. Gonna get the thumb. Just like that. I'm just trying to be careful not to hit the white parts, of course. And just do the inside part. Okay. And then the left hand now. This is the non-weapons hand. The Kenner always did this. They did this sort of like open palm thing. It really isn't good for much. I wish they had just given us 2 weapons hands. I'm a lefty, and I always liked it when a figure had left-handed grip on a weapon. Kind of made me feel a little closer to the character. Even if the character was right-handed in the movie, I still liked the option. You know, like maybe Han Solo shot non-dominant side once or twice, you know? So there it is. I'm just sort of going over this here, making sure I get the spots. Now, man, that looks really, really good. So really now, as you can tell, those hands have already been filled in. Very simple, very, very simple. This is a very easy restoration. Really, it's just time and patience more than anything with these stormtroopers. But I mean, the head doesn't really require any. All that black paint is perfect. You know what? Maybe right there. Maybe right there in the back. All right, we're gonna touch that up a little bit. Why not? Might as well go for it. Okay, there's that. Okay, we're gonna let this dry. And once it's dried, I'm gonna hit it with just, see that clear coat in there that's not black? I'm gonna hit it with that just to seal everything in. Then we're gonna accessorize it and we'll be done. Okay, the black paint with the varnish mix has had about an hour to cure and to set, so it's nice and dry. Now remember, I still had this, so what I did was I put this under some plastic wrap, and I still have some of this clear varnish right here. And all we're gonna do is take the brush, put a little bit on there, and then just go over the spots. That's it, just like that. You don't need much. You really don't need much. You're just setting it all. A little bit on this side. There you go. And this is gonna dry. This is gonna have, it's not gonna be shiny, it's not gonna be glossy, it's not gonna be matte, it's gonna be sort of that pearl or eggshell type of finish, which is exactly what I'm looking for this figure. So give that maybe about 30 minutes to dry. We all done. We're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna show you the accessories that I bought for these figures, and we'll finish this project up. All right, everybody, we've made it to the end. All we need to do is accessorize these figures, because there's nothing I hate more than unaccessorized action figures, especially if we're talking Star Wars, Kenner. So let's do it. Let's start off with the Stormtrooper first. So here he is. I also have them on some vintage figure stands, which I really recommend. And I purchased online. This is a real one. This is not a reproduction, and it's a nice one. Now this is not from the original 12. This is from later in the line where they did black blasters and darker blue. There was almost a blue-green hue to the original blasters. This one here is one. It's an original, but it's from like the early 80s, not the 70s. But that's close enough for me. It's still an original vintage weapon, and I actually prefer the all black. So there it is, right there. You can see it, and we're gonna put it in the Stormtrooper's hand. And damn, man, look at that. We'll do some turnarounds and do a little mini diorama, but look at that Stormtrooper, beautiful Stormtrooper. Man, that's, to me, that is quintessential Star Wars. But now let's have the real fun. So this is really fun. Now this figure required far less. Now it did require degreasing, de-yellowing, and a week in the sun under the 3% hydrogen peroxide, and it came out absolutely beautifully. So I splurged and I went on eBay and I bought myself an original Hoth Stormtrooper. You might know him as the Snow Trooper, but here it is. This is the original comma or cape. It's got a great plastic vintage feel to it. There's a shine to it. A lot of the reproductions don't have that shine. And this is just very good. And then an original Stormtrooper, Hoth Snowtrooper, long blaster. So this is it. This came with Dengar, IG-88, a couple other figures. So here we go. Let's put it on. So we're going to put his arms up. They just hook on those little belt hooks there. Where are you at now? There you are. Where'd it go? Oh my goodness. You gotta be kidding me. So this figure, look at that. I never noticed that. If you see here, there's a hook right there, that little hook, and the belt, or the comma, hooks there. And then it wraps around, and it should hook onto another. So we've got more work to do on this figure. I am not yet done. So let's address that again. Okay, so I thought I had made it all the way to the end, but then we noticed as we were accessorizing the figures, first of all, there's the long gun. Now, I did just say that IG-88 came with this as well. He did not. He came with a different one. It was similar. It didn't have the forward grip on it, but this came with Dengar and the Snow Trooper. But let's get back to the point at hand. So I bought this awesome vintage comma that hooks onto this figure. We're going to raise this figure's hands up. And you can see on the belt to the right there, I got my little, hold on, let me get my little tweezers so you can see what's going on. Right there, there's a hook. And that hook corresponds to one of those little open holes in the comma. And it hooks there, and then it wraps around. But I made it all the way to the end of this restoration video and didn't notice that this hook on the left side of the figure is missing. There's the hook on the right, there's the hook on the left. So talk about lack of situational awareness. I made it all the way to the end and didn't recognize that. So in order for this comma to fit, we're just gonna have to do a little repair. So in order to do that, what you'll notice here is that this has a little wedge shape. There's a little 90-degree bracket, and then there's a small little opening right there. The cape slips in there. So we're going to make this little right angle bracket. I'm going to try to recreate that. And the way we're going to do that is, I just so happen to have this. I always have some of this stuff on hand. Now this here is called Evergreen Scale Models, and it's polystyrene sheets. Now this polystyrene sheet is 1.5 millimeters thick. So we're going to take it out of this bag, and you can see it's a pretty thick stock, and it's a polystyrene sheet. This is great. I always have this for dioramas and things, but I thought maybe what we could do is fashion that little thing out of it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to carefully cut some of these strips, glue them together with this plastic weld. This is specially designed to work with polystyrene, and it also bonds very well to very hard plastics. And the torso of these
Kenner figures are always very, very hard plastic. So I'm hoping that with just a little bit of modification, we can make a right angle bracket. So stay tuned. I'm going to get to cutting and welding these pieces together, and maybe taking a file, and we're going to recreate that little hook, put it on the other side, see what happens. Here we go. Okay, after about maybe 20-30 minutes of shaping, I think you can see I've made a clip. And that clip is pretty much exactly the same size as the one on the belt. So it's a very kind of difficult angle to see, but I've made a clip that will then receive that. And the white is so close, I think all I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it, let it dry. We're going to use the plastic weld. And then once it's firmed and fixed, I'm going to just hit it with that satin finish. And I think that's going to be very close. Then I think we'll be finished. So let me get the plastic weld out and we'll see what we can do. And the other thing is, as you can see, so I'm going to put that down for a second. The bracket on this lines up exactly. It's forward of where the sonic welding is, that seam. So on this side, we're going to do the same. You can actually see where it broke off right there. So we're going to put it forward of the sonic weld. We're going to do that. So I'm going to take a tiny sanding file. I'm just going to rough up this surface right here to better affix it. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay. Now let's see what we can do. All right, I think this post right here, the post that it fixes, is a little bit too long. So I'm going to take that off. I'm going to sand it down just a little bit more. Let's get it right. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, we're gonna have to gotta move it a little bit forward there. This is the tricky part. It looks pretty good. Just like that, just gonna see here. Well, that's not bad. That's not bad. I think I can probably live with that. I wouldn't say move it forward just a little bit. And then if you see from this, it's pretty close. It's pretty damn close. I think by the time you get the cape on there, you're not going to notice it. So let's secure it a little bit more with some more of this plastic weld, and we'll let that do its work. So let's do this. This is a clear welding agent, so it does a beautiful job, especially with this polystyrene. So we'll let that bond for a little bit. And we will come back and see how that works. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. Okay, here's the accessorizing take 2. So I've already shown you the completed Stormtrooper, and you can see here it's been several hours, and the black paint with that matte finish, or that rather eggshell or pearl finish, matches perfectly the rest of the paint. This figure just looks beautiful. But here's what we all came for. We did the work on the Hoth Stormtrooper, and we had to fix this clip over here. We had to try to match this one so that way the cape would work. So here's the moment of truth. Let's see how our work looks. All right, we're gonna hook it on that side. Or actually, let's hook it on. These are always a little bit difficult for me. I don't know what it is. I got my old fingers here. I don't ever want to seem to do it just right, but let's see what we got. Come on now. We'll get it on. It's just a question of getting it on. Getting it on is just a question of getting it on. That makes sense. And bam, look at that. Hold on, we did it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him his blaster, or his long snowtrooper weapon. Look at that. Look at what it looks like from the side. I mean, that's the side that we repaired. And here's the factory side. I'm pretty pleased with that. That works out very well. And it's nice and sturdy. It's not going anywhere. So there you go. 2 completely restored vintage Kenner Stormtroopers. The original white bucket helmet. And of course we got the Hoth Stormtrooper, known as the Snow Trooper. We're going to do some turnaround shots. We're going to do a little mini diorama with these guys. And maybe you can spot them, and maybe you can't. Maybe we did such a good job you won't be able to tell. That's kind of the goal. And don't forget, stay tuned for the second part of the Stormtrooper restoration, where we complete this AT-AT driver and we do the custom bootleg blue Snowtrooper. We're going to fix his cheeks there. We got the white cheeks going on. So anyways, thank you as always for looking. I hope you found this exciting. And once again, you know, things happen along the way, and I try to do it in real time. If we run into a problem, we do it in real time, a real take, with the tools that I have at my disposal, and we see if we can do it. And again, I'm very pleased with the fix here. I mean, that's a nice little fix right there, and it matches the other side beautifully. And you've got an original, complete, vintage Hoth Snowtrooper, original gun over there. Thanks as always. Stay tuned for the next part. Oh yeah, and one little detail about these 2 figures. Now, this figure is damn near mint. You'd be hard-pressed to find anything wrong with it, but this one has a little bit of character. And if you notice right here, the helmet, that has this little dig out of it, like a little childhood accident where it looks like maybe somebody took some sort of sharp blade, like a Swiss Army knife, and cut into it, or I don't know, maybe even somebody's tooth or something. But I was thinking about fixing it and sanding it out, but I think I really love that. I think that's so cool. Like, that's just a little piece of history that I left. So It's hardly noticeable, but it is there. And I just love it. You know, that just gives this figure a little bit of character and a story. So I did not fix that. I fixed everything else, but I really wanted to keep that little detail. So I hope you appreciate it, and stay tuned for the turnaround shots.